Hi guys, how you going? Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, welcome. So in today's video, we're going to be making a Anderson plug with two inputs that come through into one, just like this. Now, the main reason for this is basically so I can connect to my Dcdc charger. On my setup, I can connect two solar panels. So at the moment, the DC to DC charge can take up to 25 amp, and the current solar panel I've got can only probably, again, spec-wise, it says it can only do 9.8 amps. I've seen it do up to 12 amps, and I've been told it can do up to 15 amps, but then there's still potential for some more, and that's the 200 watt panel. And then I've also got another portable folding 160 watt panel. So I want to feed both of them into the one solar priority input on the DC to DC charger. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to fuse both inputs just to make sure that I don't exceed the total 25. So the smaller panel, I'll pop a 10 amp fuse on, and the slightly larger panel, a 15 amp fuse, and we'll see how we go with that. Again, it's going to be a bit of trial and error, but at least with the fuses, with the blade fuses, I can go up to 30 amps if I want to. So I can always change them out and have a play. So yeah, all right, I'll just give you a quick tutorial and show you how I've set it all up. All right guys, so this is what we're going to be using today. So we've got 3 Anderson plugs, the prongs for the Anderson plugs. We're going to be using 2 of these inline blade fuse holders. And again, these are both rated up to 30 amps. We're going to be using a 10 amp fuse and a 15 amp fuse. And like I said, we can change them out to whatever. I've got some leftover twin sheath cable. Now, this stuff is for automotive, and it is rated to 38 amps at 30 degrees Celsius. Now, if you take it up all the way to say 70 degrees Celsius, it's still workable up to about 20-25 amps. So I think it'll be more than adequate for what we need. Should do the job nicely. Always got to make sure that the cable works with the current you're going to be pushing through it, and if anything, always go over. For what I need today, it should be perfect. All right. And what we're going to be using today to make our lives easier is this crimping tool. So I'll pop a link down below for all the bits and pieces, but this will make your life a hell of a lot easier. You can get them on Amazon, eBay, just shop around, and this will allow us to crimp on these nice and solidly with no issues. You can solder them, but it is a bit of a pain in the ass. So we'll go for crimping today, and I'll show you how easy it is. Cool. All right, let's get started. All right guys, so what we're going to do is we need 2 pieces of the double sheath cable. Again, you can make these whatever length you like, whatever suits. Obviously you want to minimize voltage drop as much as possible, so only make them as long as you need, okay? So we've stripped 2 sides of them. Again, I love these wire cutters. These are fantastic. So, nice and straightforward. And you can get exactly the same length. Okay. A couple of seconds, she's all done. All right, now for the first one, what you've got to realise is we've got to connect 2 of these together. So we're going to intertwine these like so. And you need to make sure they're going to fit into here. Okay, beautiful. Now, these are pretty heavy. They're a hydraulic clamp. We're going to pump it down. Push it in. Crank it up. See if you can see it, give you a bit of a close up. There you go. Release it. is not going nowhere. And we'll do the other side. Push it through. Alright guys, so lost a bit of footage, we jumped ahead a fraction, so I'll just show you what I've done. And then what I've done is I've connected the two ends, the two lengths at this end and this end, right? Now, I've just realised I've put the positive and the negative here and the negative and the positive. Obviously they should match. I'll make sure I do the same at the other end to make sure it's all right. What's going to happen is we're going to designate one of these positive and we're going to designate one of these negative, okay? So what I'm going to do is this one here. And then the way these Anderson plugs work, they're fantastic. So what we're going to do, and they only go in one way, so we're going to designate this one positive. We simply push it in, get into the right position, and then clicks. Same on this side. Get it into the right position, just have a look. Sometimes you have to twist it a little bit. That's it. Okay. Now if we have a good look in there, you can see that they're both engaged in exactly the right position. So like I said, I did mix these two up. My bad. So we know this side here is positive. Okay. So this one will have the fuse holder connected to it. Okay. And then on this side here, the red one is negative. Okay. So we will have the fuse holder connected on this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop this one off, just so we don't mess it up. All right, perfect, okay. And then the way this crimping tool works is, again, you turn the hydraulic on, close this up as close as possible, okay. Then what we're going to do is going to pop this in here. Perfect. Okay. And then start crimping, or crushing should I say. Now with the kit, these come with all different size gauges basically. Find the right one, and then once she's all crimped, undo that. Let's do a test one. Not going nowhere. All right, so that's part of the process. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to attach these blade fuses. All right, so what I've done is I've stripped two ends. One of them I've already attached, okay, solid as a rock. And now this end, we're going to now connect it, but it has to be soldered, okay? So what we'll do is I'll just get this prepped and ready, and I'll show you the next step in a sec. All right, guys, I'll give you a quick look. So again, we're double checking. The red wire here is positive, therefore this one here is the positive line. I've got the inline fuse, I've soldered this blade switch to this line. I've got the clip on this end ready for the Anderson plug. And let's do that now. So that's positive, positive. So on this Anderson plug, and again, just double check. So it goes in that way. That's it. Beautiful. That's on. Okay. Then the negative one. Push. Clicks. It's good. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull this up here. Okay. And then I'll trim that short. So I'll cover that up with a bit of electrical cable and then do the other bit. Same with this side. Now with this side, remember, so The red one here is actually the negative. So we'll pop that one in straight away on the negative, which is there. See if it goes in first go. Yep, quick, beautiful. And then this one here, it's the fuse, so therefore it's the positive. Clicks straight away. And again, the same deal here. We'll cut that to the red, that length. All right, I'll tape that up and then we'll come back and then we'll give it a go. All right guys, there you go, all done. Again, it's all nice and secure, it's all safe. There's a layer of insulation under the solder, another layer of insulation, a couple of layers on the outside. Again, I've double checked all the wiring on everything and everything's all stacks up. Positive on the positive, negative on the negative, positive on the positive, negative on the negative. So now what we're going to do is we'll plug it into our, and again, we've just had a good time in the day. The sun's peering out. We'll connect both solar panels and we'll connect up the Victron smart shunt and have a look at what she's doing as we plug in each one. All right, let's go have a look. All right guys, so I'll show you what's going on. All right, so what I've done is I've got my new cable connected into the DC charger solar input. All right, what I've been doing is, because this battery was relatively full, I've been trying to flatten it as much as possible. And you can see on the smart shunt, basically I'm currently drawing about 16 amps. Okay, I've got the King's oven connected, I've got all the lights on, I've got the fridge freezer on, the door open on the freezer, just trying to drain as much power as possible. Okay, now the whole reason for this is basically I want to make sure that with the sun, when I punch in the power from the voltage and the current from the sun, once I connect the solar panels, I want to make sure that the battery is sufficiently low enough just to make sure it works. So, and that would be, you know, proof of concept. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I've got the oven connected here. I'm going to disconnect it. You're going to see pretty quickly the oven, King's oven, draws 10 amps pretty much constantly. Okay, so you can see it's jumped up. All right, I'm going to disconnect the fridge. All right, so you're going to see another step change soon. Now the fridge only draws 4 amp when the compressor's on. Otherwise, it's drawing bugger all to maintain temperature. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch off the lights. Okay. And as you can see now, we're still drawing some current because we've got these lights. We're going to disconnect these awning lights. Okay. And now we've got 0 current being drawn. Okay. Let's give it a second just to reset the voltage. All right. So what's going to happen is the voltage is now going to jump up a little bit. I'm hoping it doesn't go up to 2.7. All right. And then what I've done now is on these 2 inputs, I've got these measuring devices here as well. So I can measure the 2 solar panels and show you that individually. You'll see it as I basically plug one in, but I just need to hope that the voltage doesn't go too high, because otherwise it's going to regulate the solar input of power. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to plug in my 160 watt solar panel. All right, so let's plug that one in. That's in. So we've got 7 amps coming in through there. All right, let's connect the other solar panel. Yep, beautiful. So between the 2, we're now sitting at about 8 and 8, 16. All right, and as you can see on the Smartron, 17 amps. All right, working. All right, so it was just that little clip. That little clip didn't quite go in properly. All right, so this is what I'm after now. Absolutely perfect, pumping in 17.5 amps. And that's on a pretty average day actually. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the car on and see if the DC, the solar priority charging still works. That's the next challenge. Alright guys, so that's a bit of a problem. So we've got the alternator going now. So what it's done is it's totally bypassed. Okay, it's coming back. So the alternator at best I was only getting maybe 3 or 4 amps. So now what it's doing is it is definitely prioritizing the solar over the alternator, which is what it's supposed to do. And this was, I was waiting for Kings to get back to me in relation to basically what is the current level at which solar priority kicks in, and it appears so far it's around that 15 amp mark. Again, it doesn't appear to be giving me anything from the alternator that I can tell, because based on these two, okay, so there you go. It's just dropped the voltage. It's just dropped the current down. But again, the sun's gone into a bit of cloud. These are all the variables you need to deal with. And then the fact we're at 13 volts as well. So this is why when you test things, you need to know a little bit what's going on. And you need to make sure so you get your batteries pretty low, just to make sure that everything's working as it's supposed to. So at the moment the sun's covered by cloud, hence the low current. Let's have a look and see if the cloud goes away, and then whether or not the solar takes over. All right guys, let's see how we go. Okay, so we've got 17 amps coming in over here on the smart shunt. I think we've got a similar value. Plus we've got the car going, so that means the solar priority charging has kicked in over the alternator, which is perfect. How it's supposed to work. So Kings, it's 15 amps for the solar priority to cut in. Thereabouts. Let's see how low it is before it cuts out. So 13 amps. All right, there you go. So it seems to be doing well at 13 amps. Solar priority cutting in. All right, 13 amps, pretty consistent. Let's see if we get any cloud cover happening. All right, 12 amps, still looks like it's priority. And again, I know it's priority because I'm getting only maybe 3 or 4 amps out of the alternator, max. Okay, so there you go. So, oh, okay, what's happened here? This bloody wonky wire. I need to go back and fix this. There you go. But you can see what happened was when the current dropped from the solar panel, it then went back to the alternator. So the alternator is pumping out, you know, about 1.4 amps. Okay. So now it's gone back to the solar priority, so it's around the 12 amp mark. And then it dropped a bit lower. Alright, so you can still see here, we've got about 15 amps going in. Alright, 13 amps over there. So the solar priority is still working, which is perfect. So it looks like it might be even as low as 12. I'd love to see it at 10 to see if it still works at 10 amps. Okay, the loose wire again. Alright, so perfect. The wire's working perfectly. I've got two solar panels sending power to the DC to DC charger. The DC to DC charger is doing what it's supposed to do. When the car on, it's prioritising the solar, which is great. Now I know at least, as long as I get above 12, right, then the solar priority is going to kick in when I'm driving. Now, I have seen 12 out of the one panel, but we'll have to see. Because this is the big issue I've got, is that I need to make sure that I've got solar priority charging from that one panel when I'm driving. Again, for this exercise I wanted to connect the two just to see when it actually kicked in. And obviously if I'm going to be stationary somewhere for a period of time, I connect the portable one as well. Perfect. Alright guys, that was a bit of a mission today. I hope you found it useful and got a better understanding of the King's DC to DC charger. And again, this is the Mark II one. There's some new ones out at the moment. Very similar in many ways. So yeah. Alright, like, subscribe, share, and I shall see you in the next video. Alright guys, cheers.